Is it time? Is it time for the morning show? Oh, well, maybe we better wait. Do I have anything important to say today? Oh, counterclockwise. Should I go ahead with the show anyway? Oh, okay, go ahead. Anyway, pendulums. Uh, I know I probably shared pendulum talk with you before, but just I think yesterday or the day before, I was called upon to comment specifically on somebody else's program about pendulums and pendulum talk and stuff. So I'm in a pendulum mood, so let's talk about pendulums. I have a whole chapter on pendulums in the Book of Ordinary Oracles here, which I'm sure you all have and have given as gifts to friends and relatives over the years. I'm sure you have. Have they? Do many of my friends, here we go. Do many of my friends have the Book of Ordinary Oracles? Oh, that's a big no. Shit. That, well, should they? Will they be happy if they get it? Will they enjoy it if they get it? Oh, whoa, yes. Of course, whoa. I'm not above that. Okay. Anyway, over the years, I've worked with the pendulum on various things, including working with them over maps and things like that. But the way I work with the pendulum, because I don't claim to be a big dowser or anything else, but it's connected with that. Now, my father was a water well driller. That's what he did. DuQuette Drilling Company of Columbus, Nebraska. And he would drill at the time. Now we're talking 60 years ago here. Nebraska had the best groundwater in North America. It had the Ogallala Aquifer, pure melted glacier water that you could poke a hole in the ground and you could find water. Very, very shallow. And so it was sort of a no-brainer if a farmer said, well, I need some water for irrigation and I need you to sink a well. And my father was a geologist and an experienced oil driller for many years and had his own oil water drilling company. And so he could just go out and just, set up the rig and dig a slush pit. And in about 2 days, the farmer had a well pumping away. But every farmer was uncomfortable with my dad's just being a geologist. He had a degree in geology from UCLA. Didn't quite trust one of them geologists guy to tell him where to sink the well. And so most farmers insisted on having the location to sink the well witched. And that's a dowser, okay, a professional dowser. And so on my father's boilerplate contracts, he had a witch clause. And I heard, when I was a kid, I overheard him talking about, well, we got to get the well witched, and or the farmer won't sign off. And I said, witched? Witched? And he said, yes. And he pointed to the witch clause, and that I couldn't believe it. And so of course, I insisted that I go along to this next time he had the location witched. And it was just another farmer with overalls and thick fingernails and with what looked like a couple of wires, coat hanger almost type things. And the guy my dad would show him the basic location that was going to be convenient to sink a well and put a pump. And so the guy gets out of his pickup truck and he takes his wires and he walks a few steps, and sure enough, those wires go like that. Now, I don't doubt that that was a legitimate process, because there was water running all over the place. But I don't doubt that that guy could find a leaky pipe or anything else. Okay, it's a skill. It's not even considered too much of a psychic phenomena. Okay, so I know pendulums and things like that work, and the working with the pendulum is sort of a combination of a spiritual practice with magicians who say, okay, I want to harmonize and contact an angelic or a spiritual force and have them speak to me through the pendulum. And the way I've been always obliged to use is the pendulum simply answering yes or no. And in the northern hemispheres, yes is clockwise, and no, of course, is counterclockwise. When I visited Australia and in my hotel in Santiago, Chile, south of the equator, I tested it out, and it seems like yes is counterclockwise and no is clockwise, but that's just me. The reason that I have to use yes or no is because, first of all, I think all divinatory questions are ultimately, when it comes right down to it, the essence of the answer is yes or no. And I talk about this in the Book of Ordinary Oracles, and I'm going to share the two little sections where I talk about that. Okay, first of all, the Oracle of Coween. Where's the Oracle of Coween? I've got a chapter it sounds funny to say this, but because I think that all divination, including something as complex as the I Ching, ultimately at the base is this either or, yes or no thing. So ultimately, everything's a flip of a coin. So I call it the Oracle of Coween to be cutesy. If you dig around, if you were to dig around, and in the back of the couch pillows, I'd wager you'd find another ordinary oracle, one that's based on one of those mathematical perfections that I discussed earlier. Now, I'm not talking about algebra or trigonometry. I'm talking about simple numbers. Obviously, the most profound mathematically based oracle would spring from the inscrutable number 0. And indeed, it would, if you could figure out with your meat brain how to do that. Unfortunately, 0 literally gives us nothing practical to work with. And the number 1, which expresses its perfection in eternal monotony, isn't much better. But things get very interesting when we come to the number 2. Number 2 is the great-great-grandmother of all randomly generated figures and images. The most profoundly ordinary oracle is based on the number 2, and it's something you're likely to have in your pocket at this very moment, the Oracle of Coween. To illustrate Coween's remarkable oracular wisdom and abilities, I'll tell you another story, and I'm not going to talk about that story. But here's the, I'll skip ahead here to the theory, because the Oracle of Coween is accurate 100% of the time. I've heard it said that the opposite of a truth is a falsehood, but that the opposite of a great truth is another great truth. Near the top of my list of great truths is the one that simply states something either is or it isn't. Let's face it, it doesn't matter what the odds are against me winning the California lottery. If I buy a ticket, I'm either going to win or I'm going to lose. Above the abyss that Kabbalists tell us divides the actual universe from its ideal source, broods an infinitely smooth environment of consciousness, wherein all opposites are reconciled. There, in the transcendent playground of the Buddha and the Avatar, a thing is true only inasmuch as it contains within itself its own contradiction. But down here, in the brickyard of the phenomenal universe, things aren't so smooth. As a matter of fact, the whole shebang appears to be held together by the vibration caused by two very big bumps in the road. Bumps that cause every element of mind and matter to be splashed against a canvas of polarity. On, off, light, dark, you, I, up, down, in, out, right, left, front, back, high, low, yes, no. All of those hyphenated. It's a sad commentary, but most of humanity functions as if it were only two aspects to this polarity thing. Good, evil, God, devil, right, wrong, laugh, cry, sin, virtue, life, death, profit, loss, pleasure, pain, war, peace, mercy, cruelty. Now, Kabbalists associate all of that with this pairs of opposites indicated by the 7 double letters of the Hebrew alphabet associated with the planetary spheres. They're opposites: war, peace, love, hate, things like that. But I digress. They ignore or refuse to examine the sublime secret hidden inside every hyphenated opposite. The secret of the hyphen itself. The mystery is easily revealed if we simply replace the hyphen with the words changing to. Now we have on changing to off, light changing to dark, up changing to down, good changing to evil, profit changing to loss, pleasure changing to pain, life changing to death, mercy changing to cruelty. This is the change in the Book of Changes, the Yi Ching. This movement is the source, the wisdom, the intelligence underlying all divinatory systems, and it manifests most perfectly in the oracle of Koween. In other words, ask a yes or no question. You got to get your question whittled down to a yes or no, and you flip a Koween, and it gives you an accurate yes or no answer 100% of the time. The rub is that sometimes the polaric pulse of the universe is toggled one way to make yes, to make heads mean yes, and sometimes it's toggled another way to make heads mean no. And it's you as the operator of the oracle to intuit which one is which. But the answer, the Koween, is always right. Okay. I know that sounds like cheating. Here's what I have to say in the chapter called The Pendulum. I've got an epigram by Greg Nelson and Joseph Polanski. In the hand of a trained operator, the pendulum reads exact energy patterns, which in the final analysis is the only truth we know. Think about that. That's pretty damn heavy. Okay. The pendulum is perhaps the most powerful and mysterious divinatory tool in the fortune teller's arsenal. It's simple to use and can perform in an almost infinite manner. It's different than other oracles because it makes you, your body, your electrical and psychic energy fields, the vehicles for the oracular intelligence. So in a sense, it's a variety of possession. I didn't say that, but I'm saying it to you now in a digression. It's an aspect of the art and science of radiesthesia. Let me spell that for you. R-A-D-I-E-S-T, radiest, H-E-S-I-A, thesia, radiesthesia. Okay, beat me up. And based upon the same principles as dowsing. By using a pendulum regularly, you become increasingly attuned to the subtle forces and more sensitive to the curious ways oracular intelligences communicate. Really, make yourself a pendulum and it becomes sort of addictive, actually, and you really get attuned to it. Actually, you feel in a very short while, once you get comfortable holding the chain or whatever, you actually feel the pendulum being drawn to the center of the earth, and you actually feel the movement one way or another, like someone is holding a rotating magnet under it. Okay, it's an objective feeling, and once you've made that connection, you don't want to put your pendulum down. Okay. But anyway, don't have a pendulum? Well, you can make one in about 2 minutes using stuff you got laying around the house. Most anything will do. A pendulum is just a weight at the end of a string. Tie a ring or an earring to a thread or thin chain about 8 inches long. You'll find something. If you discover you have a knack for pendulum work, you will have no difficulty finding a wide assortment of professional quality pendulums for sale at New Age book and gift shops. I've even seen them for sale at health food stores. You need only a few moments with your pendulum to get a feel for it. Start by draping the end of the string over your index finger, pinching the end of the string down with your thumb, and letting the weight swing naturally. Then will it to swing in a clockwise circle. When it does, mentally inform it, or the intelligence behind it, that a clockwise swing means yes. So in other words, you train it. With your will, you immediately, without asking a question, you will it to swing clockwise. Or if it's not a circle, if you want it to go left or right, or swing left or right, or front and back, train it to do that. But at first, you will it. And in my case, I willed it to go clockwise. And then when it was going clockwise and I felt that pull toward the center of the earth, I said, this is yes. This is yes. And I kind of burn that into my brain. And then I say, do you understand that this means yes? And then I feel it go even stronger. And then, okay. Then I do the same thing with the word no, but linking your mind with a counterclockwise movement. No kidding, that's all you have to do to get started using the pendulum. Once you've attuned your pendulum, the things it can do for you are mind-boggling. The pendulum's potential as an oracular device is limited only by your imagination. You can even use it in combination with other oracles, selecting tarot cards or numbers to create I Ching hexagrams, etc. Use it over maps, or books, or newspapers. Or do as I do in the example that I'm about to give, over Scrabble tiles. While preparing the material for this chapter, I thought it'd be nice to chronicle the events of a brief pendulum operation. So I got out my pendulum, a nice brass miniature surveyor's plum, settled in my comfy chair, and quietly chanted the name of Ganesha 108 times to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel. The chanting seemed to put me in a creative state of mind because I suddenly got an exciting idea. And that is where I'm going to leave it today. And I'm going to allow you the time to either get out or to make your own pendulum. And then I'll finish off that story tomorrow. And maybe you can do something like that yourself. Anyway, that's it for today. I have more packing to do because I'm going to Notakon. Hopefully, if I'm on the plane gets there and the person picks me up. Anyway, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other, Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.